In any given school district in the state of Texas, the school board stands as the government of that district, creating and voting on laws and rules that are based on community standards. These laws and rules are then given over to individual schools where administration decides on methods of enforcement.
I'm going to say most school districts, it's going to be a reflection of that community. And so I think what happens is, from a school board perspective, it just depends on how active those school board members want to be in the dress code.
Dress codes in public schools have become more commonly seen in school handbooks and codes of conduct. These enforcements have been deemed necessary in relation to behavioral, environmental, and educational health.
If you went to a very small community that had what I would call pretty strict standards of dress, you would probably see the school board more involved in what they want to direct to the administration from a governance role, which is their role, of this is what the standards are going to be and this is what you're going to enforce. From an administrative side, then that puts you in a position of that's your job, is to enforce policy.
However, have you ever wondered about the process of enforcement and what, if any, issues may arise? 3 areas of possible interest or concern may be parental and student reaction, progressive effectiveness, and possible interference with First Amendment rights. Parental and/or student reaction is highly dependent on the methodology of enforcing and reinforcing dress codes in the public school arena.
I think the opposition is, hey, you let them wear that, but we can't do this. I think how you handle that is exactly what we do. Again, it is customer service piece. It is a partnership between us administratively and as a public entity, working alongside of our stakeholders and our community members, which are our parents. And I really don't see a lot of opposition.
While some districts rarely encounter opposition on these standards, others deal with refusal and inconsistency. These reactions are responses to either the tactics of respect, communication, and service, or the tactics of harsh punishment and confrontation.
I'm a firm believer, and so are my administrators, on building quality relationships with kids. I think when kids understand that the adults around them care about them, then I think you can get kids motivated to do just about anything you need them to do. So having said that, you work hard on the relationship end, and so really the first kind of step that we take is that we just have cordial, respectful conversations with that young woman, that young man, about, hey, that's out of dress code. You can't wear a hat in the building. Here is the reason why. Or you can't wear those shorts. Here's the reason why. First of all, it's communication. If you're going to have a dress code, then you have to make sure everyone's aware of what the dress code is. You can't just put it in a handbook and never talk about it, but then jump down some kid's throat because they wore something that was inappropriate to the dress code. I think the ineffective ways are confrontational. Obviously, embarrassing them in front of their friends and their peers immediately sets up a wall of they're going to defend themselves, even if they know they're wrong, according to the dress code.
As time has gone on, the existence of dress codes has changed in placement and meaning. The reflection of society and community standard is evident in how far the dress codes extend and how strictly they are enforced. Even opposition is a reflection of the times. While today it is based on the need for self-expression and individualism, back in the 60s and like decades, opposition was based more on political views and the need to express social viewpoints and standings. In court cases such as the 1969 case of Tinker v. Des Moines, it can be seen that politics fueled the dress code issue of the time. In that specific Supreme Court case, students of the Des Moines Independent School District decided to wear black armbands in support of their view on the Vietnam War, as a sign of truce. However, in that time, this idea was considered a distraction, and thus against code.
And we thought that, well, this doesn't make sense. The adults are talking about peace, but they're actually having war. And so we thought that we should stand up for peace and decided to wear black armbands to school. And a few of us were suspended from school, and it went to the Supreme Court eventually in 1969, which ruled that neither students or teachers give up their rights when they enter the schoolhouse gate. And so it was a victory for young people all over the country.
In an Iowa-based case, and one of the first cases to come out in terms of that. I mean, I think what that is today would be pretty benign compared to some of the things that kids are doing or we're allowing to do, just because we've evolved into that state as a society. So I think it's one of those that it became. That wasn't the norm at the time. Somebody challenged the norm at the time. And that's really true about how most transformational change places. Somebody challenges the norm.
The question still arises if it is possible for dress code enforcement to be a hindrance on First Amendment rights.
Again, it comes down to what you make a priority. And what I mean by that is we try to stay focused on the main thing, which is basically teaching and learning. And so, there's a lot of work for us to do in terms of improving instruction. So therefore, our students learn at a higher level and will be more academically successful. That's what we try to stay focused on. And so when you do that, you have different perspectives in regards to dress code, which I think lends itself to be not more lenient, but more understanding. And so you don't run into a lot of problems where you violate someone's First Amendment rights. And so I think with that in mind, we approach things, and I think as school administrators, having knowledge of school law, the First Amendment rights, you have to look at what causes a significant disruption to the learning environment.
It can be said that dress codes are very symbolic in nature, as they mirror the state of our society and define what is acceptable and unacceptable. They also show the lengths to which our school system feels they must go to preserve what's left of the sanctity of educational institutions and their environments. Dress codes are a conservative notion put into effect to continue some sort of standard that is not always valued outside of the school walls. However, the importance of individualism and self-expression continue to be considered as both relevant and necessary in the ever-changing world around us.